All right, guys. I'm going to be editing Lindsay White's episode right now, and I'm going to show you a little trick about editing when it comes to breaths. Now, this is my intro piece for the Lindsay White episode. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Dusty Futons Musicians Podcast. All right, see that breath? I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it. Now, a lot of the times you don't want to do this in podcasts because you have no bed of music underneath you. So that breath right there, I'm going to cut it here, shrink it down there, and I'm going to leave the spacing because the spacing's natural and you want that spacing. But listen to it now. Musicians Podcast. This episode, so you don't hear the breath anymore. But if there was no music bed, this is what it would sound like. Musicians Podcast. And you hear it, but because of the music bed, you don't hear it anymore. Tom's Musicians Podcast. This episode's going to feature, and it's a seamless transition sounding that way. And you can do it again. For a musician we found through our campaign with Reverb Nation. That was a deep breath, so I'm going to make sure I get all of it and take it right up to the edge. Reverb Nation. I had a pickup right there. I can get rid of it. Campaign with Reverb Nation. These guys, now you also want to make sure you don't go too far back because a lot of the times right here where you see the dots, you might think that, oh, that's not really part of the WAV file. There's not much there. But if you go too far back, you cut some of the word off. With Reverb Nation, that time it actually worked out good. And that if you can get it to work out like that, then you're going to have a good sound because you won't have a hard hit off that might give you a pop in somebody's speaker. With Reverb Nation. But still, you can kind of hear it. If you've got that ear, you can kind of hear it chopped up. With Reverb Nation, now that's much better. And I even think now with Reverb Nation, so you hear that clip a little bit because I cut it early. And then Reverb Nation, these guys, so that's a good cut regardless of whether you have a bed or not because the audio in the background is pretty much nil. So if you listen now, with Reverb Nation, these guys that's a good clean cut right there. And I removed the breath, but I kept the natural spacing. I didn't change the spacing. And there you go. That's my opinion on what makes a good edit for when you're editing voice and you're trying to remove a breath or an or a same difference with any of those, an or a. And you want to remove those to a point, but remember this, that sometimes those ums and those uhs actually add character to the people. So don't remove them too much because then you actually take away a little bit of the character of that person. Thank you for listening. I'm Big Jon with the Dusty Futon LLC Productions.